And welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. I'm looking at the sun on 193 angstroms here. We're going to be talking about jerks and witchcraft and Kristkindlemarks and big structural BS and all kinds of things. We see coronal holes north of the equator and an active region to the south. We're looking at 7 hours and 45 minutes of solar activity here. And there's that active region. No sunspots, just some coronal holes dominating the visible portion of the disk. Here's a 304 angstrom view. And we do see a giant plasma filament erupting down here in the south. Let's get a close-up of that. Big-time plasma filament there. And those of you who didn't watch yesterday's video, we did report a coronal mass ejection. You can see it right here where my pointer is. Looks like a very dense piece of plasma and quite large, actually. And it did show up on the LASGO C3, and a component does appear to be Earth-facing. Before we move on, let's talk about this article that's going to be all over the space weather. Partially contributed by Big Bear Solar Observatory. A paper about solar spicules and how they're launched by magnetic reconnection. Now, not going to be very surprising to a lot of our viewers. We've left links to the video below the description, the article, as well as to Big Bear Observatory. Here's the image we're talking about, and the magnetic interactions between the plasma on the surface is what is believed to cause spicules. Let's get back into data. There's the X-ray flux. It's looking totally flatlined. And there's the sunspot solar cycle progression. Welcome to cycle 25 and indeed the neo-renaissance. Real-time solar wind, there's the data there. We see a slow ramp up in the solar wind speed here over the past 10 hours and a ramp down in the solar wind density here. Solar wind density currently at 3.71 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 447 kilometers a second. There's the data from the ACE spacecraft. And here's the magnetosphere movie looking at the pressure. And that should be 4 hours of data if all is going according to plan. Fairly normal looking magnetosphere here. No real anomalies based on the solar wind data or anything like that. Next we'll look at geospace ground magnetic perturbations. And we'll view from the global scale here. And you'll be able to see timestamps. And we see the main changes to the Earth's B field here in the northern hemisphere coming over the Canadian pole. Not a lot happening at the Siberian pole. And the south geomagnetic pole still looking like it's creeping into the Indian Ocean, perhaps at a faster rate. 10.7 centimeter radial flux, holding steady at 70 on the orange line that we've drawn in here. And there's the GOES magnetometer. Looking quite spiky here, as we are solidly in the North Pole oriented portion of the current sheet, shown here in green on the Gong 2 data. This one, 1 hour and 48 minutes old. Not a lot to comment on there. Let's keep this thing going on the ultra early edition. KP index at 1. Let's do cosmic rays, as we haven't done them for a few days. First we'll go to Apatity and Barentsburg. And there is the last 24 hours and 30 days at Apatity. Looking pretty flat, really. And there is the 24-hour and 30-day data from Barentsburg. Next we look at Athens. And there's the data from Athens. 30 days of it. Did see a small spike early yesterday. Next we'll look at Mexico City. And there's the data from there, 30 days worth. Here's Moscow. Tisk tisk. Not returning data for over 2 weeks there. Get back online, Moscow. And finally, we'll look at Oulu, Finland, and a couple Antarctican monitors. There's Oulu. Thanks again, Ulla, for teaching us how to pronounce Oulu. There's DOMC Antarctica. Showing very high levels there, actually. Very high levels at DOMC Antarctica. All the way up in the plus 10% range there. Very high levels. And there's DOMB Antarctica. And some significant spikes there also. Coming out of the South Pole, or going into the South Pole. Links to the network of cosmic ray stations below the video. Back to data, here's the electron flux. Back to other data, I should say. And we do see a cratering here. We see an increase in the solar wind speed going on. And there's the electron flux data. Surprisingly low, actually, right now. And the relativistic electrons are in a low to moderate range. Ionosphere is looking a little jerky. Not super anomalous, a little bit charged up on the southern hemisphere side. Staying partially charged up all through the night. And let's bring up the latest image here. This one coming in at 8 UT. Again, southern hemisphere looking slightly anomalously charged. Ionosphere looking jerky. Let's define a term here at Merriam-Webster.com. Jerk, an annoyingly stupid or foolish person. Now we overuse the word jerk here at home. smAsho staff may indicate that I am a
jerk,
and that's okay. An unlikable person, especially one who is cruel, rude, or small-minded. A single quick motion of short duration, like a sudden jerk. Jolting or bouncing or thrusting motions. Tendency to produce spasmodic motions, an involuntary spasmodic muscular movement due to reflex action. The pushing of weight from shoulder height to position overhead. Involuntary twitchings due to nervous excitement. It's also a verb. And by the way, the home dictionary, the paper dictionary, has got all kinds of offshoots like jerkin, jerk off, jerk water, jerky. Do you come from a jerkwater town? We're going to talk about the Lehigh Valley where I'm from in a moment, but first we're going to go over 24 hours of earthquakes. And coming in about 23.5 hours from when we made the video, we see a 4.1 magnitude quake at Indonesia. Next on the list could be the largest of the past 24 here, a 5.8 at Indonesia. We've seen a massive uptick at Indonesia and Philippines. Next to the 4.6 at the Reconnaissance Ridge, this one coming in at 1142 yesterday. That one south of the tip of Greenland. Here's a 4.0 in the Aleutian Islands, a 4.6 at Iceland. Shout out Vikings. Please leave a comment if you are a Viking viewer. Next we see a 5.1 at Indonesia. No deep quakes on the list yet, folks. Here's a 4.4 at Japan. 4.6 in Indonesia. That one's at depth 165 kilometers. That one's striking at 1834 UT yesterday evening. Next we see a 4.4 at Ecuador. That one at depth 174 kilometers. Heads up western South America. Here's a 4.4 at Russia, in between the Aleutians and Kamchatka Peninsula. 4.7 at Indonesia. Again, big uptick there. 4.1 in western South America there. That one coming in at Argentina. That one at extreme depth, 211 kilometers. Here's a quake north of Indonesia there, in between India and Indonesia, really, at a 5.2 magnitude, 4.4 at Afghanistan. That one's at depth. Heads up Afghans for a larger quake. That one's at 206.4 kilometers. Next, we see one in an odd place there, very far south in the Atlantic Ocean there, south of Africa, near Bouvet Island. 5.4 magnitude. And last on the list is a 4.7 at Indonesia. That one coming in at 647 UT. Volcano rundown includes Mount Abiko producing a 10,000-foot ash plume, Sakurajima exploding, 12,000-foot ash plume there. Suwanisojima, not sure if that one, based on satellite imagery, is erupting or not. Sanjiangapi, explosive activity there, 8,000-foot ash plume. Mount Merapi, 14,000-foot ash plume there as it explodes, uptick at Mount Merapi. Mount Takono exploding once again, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Popocatépetl still exploding, 21,000-foot ash plume there. Sangay exploding, 20,000-foot ash plume there. Nevados de Chilean exploding, 12,000-foot ash plume. Please don't fly your ultralight home-built aircraft over Nevados de Chilean. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And there's where we anticipate things to be in a week as another new moon approaches. Here's where stuff is above my head. Actually, it's going to be more like this, as it is now, 3:13. Do you know where your constellations are? Well, you want to find out, check out in-the-sky.org. Shout out in-the-sky.org. And we've been giving you limited information and a link to 1 star a day in the local area of the galaxy. Today's is Gliese 687. Now this one's located about 12 light years. Sorry, it's less than 15 light years from the sun. It has a high proper motion. It moves quite far across the sky per year. And it appears to have a Neptune-sized planet at approximately estimated mass of 12 Earths, I believe it is. 18.394 Earth masses, according to the calculations. Gliese. It's probably Gliese 687. It's a red dwarf in Draco. It's got a magnitude of 9, not visible with the naked eye. You need a medium-sized telescope at least for this one. Links to that below the video. If you enjoy the original music, today we were playing Lost Luggage. Check out soundclick.com/GoldenCatProductions. We are now at lightningmaps.org. And heads up Italy. Next time you hear thunder, check out lightningmaps.org. And hey, Napoli, it looks like thunder's rolling in. Anyway, there's your real-time lightning maps. And here is your value-added service for all of you American viewers. It's the U.S. Doppler radar on Weather Underground. And we see storms lingering here off the southeastern coast again, as well as a bunch of snow falling in Wisconsin. Looks like some heavy snow there in northeastern Minnesota also. Possibly changing into a wintry mix this morning. And here's that stormy area off the coast of South and North Carolina. It's looking a little anomalous. Let's check it out on the water vapor map. It's turned into a pretty powerful low here, and it's rotating counterclockwise fairly well. It's causing all the dry air even to rotate counterclockwise. Looks like a pretty violent system out there in the ocean. There must be a massive pressure gradient in that region. Let's bring it to the US scale. And there's the zoomed out version. Big time convergence going on over here around the Oklahoma Panhandle. We're going to look at that too. And there's that area. Should be some interesting cloud formations around that convergence line once again. If you're in northern Texas or northeastern New Mexico, go outside and look up. Also, southeastern Colorado. Really, all of southern Colorado should have fascinating cloud formations. And here's just a view of that area on the NASA GOES shortwave satellite, showing us what the clouds are likely to look like at nighttime when they're not viewable on the visible. I would especially note this area down here over southeastern New Mexico. And let's zoom out even farther. There's the global view on the NASA GOES shortwave satellite, showing us where clouds are going to be even when it's dark. And there's this violent rotational area here off of the coast of North and South Carolina. Quite a significant counterclockwise rotation there, even pulling the dry mass of air into the mix, which will probably weaken it, but at the current time, it's rotating in champion fashion. And here is the jet stream of the northern hemisphere from the North Geographic Polar view. And it is really all over the place, folks. Here's the South Pole view. Looking a little more organized in the south, as spring has sprung. And welcome to the That Is Censored and That Is a Sinkhole vulgarity-free section of the video. Were you aware that Facebook app is secretly accessing iPhone users' cameras? A lot of people think that their Apple products are safe from the spyware and the junkware and the malware and the bloatware, etc. They're not. These problematic programs are installed on these devices, whether you like it or not. You can't uninstall them without the risk of destroying your device and bricking it, the term meaning rendering it non-functional by attempting to root the device by installing non-proprietary software on it. By the way, you don't even need to have a Facebook account. Even if you disable the software, it still has the ability to operate parts of your phone. Links to that article below the video also. And if you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press like and subscribe. And thanks to all of our new subscribers. I guess 1,500 subscribers should be a milestone. And look for smAsho live streams coming back soon, as we're constantly changing the operation here. There is no rut to be in. Let's talk about the mission. The mission is to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. Astrophysics and cosmology are broken right now. If you take an astronomy course and you watch our videos, you'll probably agree. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance as it gets rewritten before your very eyes. It's a great time to be doing science right now. Second part of the mission is to raise the awareness of the general public between space weather and Earth effects. All your weather comes from space, folks. Also to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach. And we have started the process of creating a nonprofit agency to make your donations tax deductible. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see. Also to demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary fashion, to assist mankind, the humans, by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon and so on, and to not be ossified in our beliefs. If you enjoy the mission, then become a patron over at patreon.com/smAshomash. We've got a few more $1,000 a month to replace, and then we will start doing it full time. And that's an exciting prospect. Thanks, Smash team, for viewing the video. And all of you who viewed the premiere live, cheers to you. Also, stay tuned for some bonus features here at youtube.com/smAshomash, or perhaps bitchute.com/smAshomash, our other content host. Check the description for all kinds of links to our different social media and so on. Let's talk about big structural BS. Big structural Bailey. Big structural Bailey. Big structural Bailey. Liz Warren loves it. And this article is about big structural Bailey, her 2-cent plan, wealth tax to pay for Medicare for all, which would cause people with wealth enough to have to pay the tax to move those assets out of country. The same thing that happens every time these sort of policies go into place, thereby reducing the overall the overall tax intake. And yeah, big structural Bailey. By the way, if you'd like to follow Liz Warren's dog on Twitter, her dog Bailey has its own Twitter account. And let's see, the latest tweet came out on the 14th, where apparently the dog has shared a Sacramento for Warren tweet here about how it's time to get the dog back in the White House or something. And please leave a comment if you think Liz Warren got rich while serving in the U.S. Senate. Now, are you considering coming to the Lehigh Valley? Well, here's yet another reason to stop by the Lehigh Valley. The Bethlehem Kristkindlemarkt. It's nominated as one of the nation's best holiday markets. If you're into Christian-style Christmas shopping, perhaps check it out. Come to the Lehigh Valley. Maybe do a bike ride with the cycling club or something like that. Maybe even come do a ride with me. Anyway, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, founded by Moravians in the 1700s, actually. The Kristkindlemarkt in Bethlehem is an extremely good Kristkindlemarkt. I know. I've been to the real one in Nuremberg. It's quite a good Kristkindlemarkt, so check that out if you like. If you're stopping by the Lehigh Valley, perhaps something to check out. Or if you're not into Christmas stuff, there are even some witchcraft supplies just north of the Lehigh Valley. A new witchcraft supply store has opened in the Poconos. So maybe do some gambling. If you're into pagan rituals, go get some witchcraft supplies. The Pocono Witch Shop, located in Blakesley. They'll sell you, I don't know, Eye of Newt or who knows what. But yeah, check that out if you like. And we left links to this also. They'll even do tarot readings for you at the Pocono Witch Shop. The Pocono Witch Shoppy. Look for changes coming soon at smashomash.org. SMAsho staff, get in the salt mines. And your final bonus feature is looking at the sun in 171 angstroms. We see this filamentary eruption here. Didn't see anything coming off it yet, according to Stereo A. Although, perhaps check out the LASCO C2 throughout the day. You can find a link to that at solarham.net if you like. Active region is breaking down magnetically as the magnetic fields are spreading out and looking kind of weak. But that filament is interesting. Let's look at the North Pole section and call it a day. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for staring at the sun. Remember, when you're doing so, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. Keep an eye on that filament over there by my pointer. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that atherosclerosis absent from your veins.